So today we're talking about why eating clean is important in ways that you may not understand. So you see, everybody tells you that you should eat clean, you are what you eat, and uh, that you need to eat clean to be healthy. But you might think, well, why do I need to eat clean to be healthy? How is like how is this correlated? Okay, so first things first, you need to eat clean to actually give your body the proper nutrients to recover. Because while you may see athletes eat junk food and stuff like I know some basketball player, no, some football player chugging down Skittles before a game, you may think that, oh, that means I can just eat whatever I want and still be fit. No. What these guys are doing is that they are eating junk food because they're on their deload season, or they're on they're well out of season. And if they're doing this before a game, then that means it's a pre-game boost. Um, why are they off season? Why are they eating junk food off season? Because I think it was Tom Brady who said this. It's better to not have the stress of needing to eat clean all the time than to uh, have that health boost. It's better to sacrifice a bit of health for, well, no stress, because stress will be much more detrimental to your performance. But because you're probably not a competitor, you don't need to have an off and on season. What you can do is that you can keep a baseline level of uh, good diet that is not as good as those athletes when they're in season, but also not as bad when they're off season. Because athletes, what they can do is that they can eat super healthy, only like chicken, rice, and broccoli for months, and then they eat junk food. What we want is to eat something that's a bit more tame, that's a bit more in the middle, but leaning towards the clean stuff. So why do you actually need proper nutrients to recover? Well, because when you exercise and you put your muscles through stress, your body thinks, oh yeah, uh, that was very hard on our body, so we're going to need to rebuild it and, well, be stronger next time. So what your body does is that it signals you to be hungry. So when you're hungry, you're going to eat food, and then that food is going to recover your muscles, because, well, your muscles need to be rebuilt from something. They're not going to get those materials from out of thin air, right? So that's number one. Number two is not as obvious, because you may think, oh yeah, if I'm an athlete and I'm exercising, then I need to, of course, eat healthy. But what if I don't really get as much movement? What if my work is purely intellectual? What if you're an artist, maybe? Well, then you still need to eat clean. Why is that? Because your brain actually consumes a lot of calories, because, well, all those thought processes require a lot of food. So if you actually supply your body the proper nutrients, and not only the calories, but also the proper ratio of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins, whatever, then you can actually think better. It will allow you to focus better, focus for longer periods of time. It will also allow you to just have, well, better just have better presence of mind at all times. Because I don't know if you've noticed, after you've eaten two slices of pizza, you feel a bit bloated and you feel very, very stagnant. You feel very slow. You're not really as responsive. Have you really experienced that? Have you really tried to notice that? Because most people don't notice it, but it actually happens. Because I personally, I can only notice this because I meditate every single day. I can notice this in other people because I'm naturally a very um I very much just analyze people. I very much analyze people at like the a deeper level at like the smallest hints or hints in body language that they might exert. So if you want to actually focus on your work and focus better, then you need to eat clean, because all those thought processes require a lot of energy, calories, minerals, vitamins, macronutrients, all that stuff. They require a lot of it. So we want you to, well, be able to supply that, because eating is all about fuel, and you need to get your body the right fuel for the correct, for the right purpose. So if you're much more of an endurance athlete, then you're going to want to eat more carbohydrates then, because if you're a basketball player, then you're going to need to eat a lot of protein, a lot of some carbohydrates and fats. Why? Because you're mainly sprinting, you need to be strong, you need to be bulky as a basketball player. If you're a marathon runner or you're a long distance biker, then what you need is you need lots of carbohydrates to have quick energy, because that's what we want. Another thing that we might want to consider is that you may have lactose intolerance or something. That's why you see a lot of athletes, like you've seen Mohamed Salah, like he doesn't really eat dairy when he's on season. He doesn't eat any cheese, milk, or stuff. That's because lots of people have a very small degree of lactose intolerance, and even if they drink milk that's said that it's lactose free, it never is actually lactose free. It just has a very small amount of it. So that means that you're still going to get those symptoms, and those symptoms are being bloated, farting, pooping a lot. That's not good for an athlete, by the way. So if you know that you have some allergies or some predispositions or uh, some ailments when it comes to that, then we're going to want to cut those out. So, for example, me, I cannot eat anything that has artificial sweeteners. For me, if I wanted to do something sweet, I should not, under any circumstance, eat something that's sugar free but has like has some like sugar similar compound, right? Like if I have some uh, cookies from All Nutrition, like Fit King cookies, if I have that and it's sugar free, then I'm going to suffer more than if I actually ate the sugar. That's because I have an allergy, and whenever I eat those sugar-like compounds, my acne just skyrockets. Whenever I like, of course, when I eat regular sugar, it's also a thing, but it's not as bad when I eat something that's sugar free, because like I don't know, like uh, flavored protein 4 days in a row, and then a week later I noticed that I just had some like random 3 pimples pop up. And by the way, it wasn't a coincidence, because this happened 3 times already. Like 3 separate times this has happened. So it can't be a coincidence, surely. That's why I have unflavored protein, and I just have no sugar in my diet. No added sugar. The only sugar that I do have in my diet is sugar that comes from fruits, because that doesn't actually impact me, and also honey, because that also doesn't impact me. So maybe it's not about sugars, it's about added sugars. So yeah, that was my viewpoint. Uh, what we also want to talk about is your mindset. Your mindset about food is just as important as the food you eat. Why? Because if you think of food as something to enjoy, as something that's purely a pleasure, then you're not going to want to eat the same thing every single day. Because me personally, I have about 5 meals a day, 3 of which are the same every day. Like every single day, I have my oats with peanut butter and protein for breakfast. I have toasts, of course, dark bread with cheese and ham, and I also have scrambled eggs with added cheese. Why do I have so much cheese and dairy? Because I don't have lactose intolerance. I'm not bloated. I'm not anything like that. I have noticed no difference in my farting intensity and my pooping intensity between eating and not eating milk and dairy and the products. So I eat them. And most people, when I tell them that every single day I eat those 3 meals, then they're surprised. I can eat it. I can eat that. I can eat like that because I don't think of food as a pleasure. I think of food as a fuel. What do I mean by that? Uh, when when I look at food and what I want to eat, I I don't really I try to detach myself uh, from the monotonous taste of it. What I try to attach myself to is the calories and the health benefits of that particular meal over something that tastes and smells better, but is actually worse for my health. That is because I've meditated and I can use my logical side of the brain uh, to overpower the emotional side so that I actually eat what's better for me, not necessarily what's the tastiest for me. That's why I can eat the same food every day. That's why it doesn't get tiring for me. Because imagine eating the same breakfast every single day for the past 2 years. That would be crazy, right? But I do it because I don't have that mindset of you can't put this and this together because it will taste horrible. Like if it tastes bad, but it's good for me, I will eat it probably. Like, of course, we don't want to go too hard on it. We don't want to have can, we don't want to have some crazy combinations. What we do want to have is to stay within like the bounds of reason. Of course, it depends on what you consider uh, reasonable, because for me, I consider a lot of things reasonable, but there are just some things that I eat that I like liver, for example, cooked liver. I absolutely hate that, so I don't eat it, even though it is very healthy and I would probably benefit more from eating it. You reach a point um, where you have to consider like stress and health. That is why athletes have their off season because they're very extreme. What we want is to not be as extreme, but we want to also go uh, very polarized with this. That's what we want. And yeah, we want to eat a lot if we want to build muscle. We want to eat not a lot. We want to eat a little if we want to lose weight. So yeah, it was my viewpoint on eating clean and how you should do it, how you should go about it. Thank you guys. Equal the better. See ya.